Let's begin 10th. Talking to yourself. Not madness, it's mental mastery. What looks strange to others is actually a high-level cognitive strategy. It's called external processing, a habit where intelligent people verbalize their thoughts to sharpen them. Instead of keeping everything in their head, they speak it out loud to break down complex problems, clarify decisions, mentally rehearse scenarios, refine arguments or ideas. Albert Einstein was known for doing this. So was Nikola Tesla, and chances are, so do you when no one's watching. Talking out loud creates a loop between the brain and the voice, activating multiple parts of the brain at once, improving memory, focus, and problem solving. It might look weird, but in truth, it's a sign your brain is doing deep work in real time. So next time someone sees you having a full-blown convo with yourself, just smile. You're not crazy. You're thinking on another level. 9. Staying up late. Not laziness, but late-night genius. While the world sleeps, some minds come alive. Night owls are often misunderstood, seen as lazy, distracted, or undisciplined. But studies show that people with higher intelligence tend to stay up later than average. Why? Because their brains don't shut off just because the sun did. They experience racing thoughts, deep reflection, and late-night creativity. The quiet of the night removes distractions, no noise, no calls, no interruptions, just pure, uninterrupted mental space. It's when some of their best ideas are born. The code finally works. The storyline finally clicks. The business plan finally makes sense. The meaning of life suddenly feels clearer. In fact, some of the greatest minds in history, like Charles Darwin, Franz Kafka, and Winston Churchill, were all late-night thinkers. So if you find yourself lying in bed, thinking deeply while others snore, don't shame yourself. It may not fit the 5 a.m. club aesthetic, but genius rarely follows the herd. You're not undisciplined. You're just wired to think when the world is quiet enough to hear yourself. 8. Overthinking simple things. It's not anxiety. It's depth of thought. Most people see overthinking as a flaw, but for highly intelligent minds, it's often a byproduct of seeing too much. Give them a simple question, they'll give you 5 interpretations. Tell them it's no big deal. They'll still break it down from every angle, because to them, nothing is ever just surface level. They notice the tone behind your words. They replay conversations in their head. They ask themselves, what did they really mean? Is there a better way I could have said that? What's the long-term consequence of this small decision? It's not about being nervous. It's about seeking clarity, accuracy, and truth. In fact, many high IQ individuals are known to overanalyze daily choices like what to wear to a meeting, signal status, whether a text sounds too cold, tone analysis, how their silence may be interpreted, social inference, even why a stranger smiled at them, pattern seeking. To others, it might look like mental gymnastics. To them, it's just how their brain works, constantly turning the wheel, even when it doesn't have to. And sure, it can be tiring, but it's also the same trait that makes them. Spot hidden risks, predict outcomes, understand nuance, and outthink the average person every time. So yes, they overthink, but that's because they oversee more than most. 7. Zoning out. During conversations, not distraction, but deep internal processing. They're in the room, but not really. You're mid-sentence, and suddenly their eyes glaze over. They nod, but their mind has clearly drifted. To most people, it seems rude. But in reality, this is a classic sign of a high-processing brain. Here's what's actually happening. Your words triggered a chain reaction. One phrase sparked an idea, which connected to a memory, which spun into a theory, which led to an insight they've been chasing for weeks. They didn't mean to leave the conversation. Their brain just went faster than the moment allowed. This zoning out isn't carelessness. It's cognitive overflow. Their mind is constantly running background tabs. They're mentally multitasking in ways most people can't see. Some call it absent-mindedness. Others call it distraction. But the truth is, it's a sign they're playing mental chess while others are still setting up the board. And don't worry, they'll circle back. They always do, with a thought so sharp it cuts through the room like a blade. So if you know someone who drifts mid-convo, or if you do it yourself, it's not disrespect. It's just the brain stepping away to do something brilliant. 6. Changing accents or mimicking speech patterns. Not fake, just hyper-adaptive intelligence. Some people think it's cringe. Others accuse them of being fake. But when highly intelligent people start subtly copying someone's accent, slang, or tone, it's not manipulation. It's mirroring, and it's rooted in emotional intelligence. Their brain is highly tuned to patterns of speech and behavior. So when they're around someone with a strong accent or distinct speaking style, they naturally and often unconsciously begin to match their rhythm, pick up certain phrases, adjust tone and energy, even change facial expression slightly. Why? Because their mind is built for connection and learning. By adapting their speech, they create psychological safety. The other person feels more understood, more relaxed. It's a trait known as linguistic empathy, and it's common in fast learners, polyglots, great negotiators, high-level communicators. And yes, sometimes they'll catch themselves doing it and cringe. But it's not about pretending. It's about tuning in. Like a jazz musician improvising with another player. They're not mocking, they're syncing. So next time you hear someone accidentally start speaking in a different accent mid-convo, don't laugh. They might just be smarter and more emotionally attuned than you think. 5. Getting great ideas in the shower. Not random, it's brain science. You're scrubbing shampoo into your hair when suddenly, boom, an idea hits you out of nowhere. A business solution, a video concept, a perfect comeback to that argument from last week. Why does this always happen in the shower? Because of a little-known brain phenomenon called the default mode network, DMN. It activates when you're relaxed, not focused, and your mind starts to wander. Here's the science. When you're in a low stimulation environment, like a warm shower, your brain stops processing external noise. That frees up cognitive resources, so your subconscious finally connects scattered thoughts. Those fragments fuse, and the idea finally clicks. This is why highly intelligent people often love long walks, solo drives, late-night showers, staring out of windows, any calm space that lets their mind breathe and wander. Einstein got ideas while sailing. Archimedes had his famous eureka moment in a bath. It's not laziness, it's incubation, where the brain does its deepest work when you're doing nothing. So if your best ideas come when you're shampooing your hair or standing under hot water, don't dismiss it. That's your brain's creative engine revving quietly in the background, solving puzzles you didn't even know you were working on. 4. Hating small talk, not antisocial. Just mentally allergic to shallow things. Highly intelligent people often struggle with small talk, not because they're rude, but because it drains their energy. They crave conversations with depth, ideas, not gossip. Why questions, not what's up, meaning not mindless noise. Their brain thrives on insight, not repetition. So while others enjoy chit-chat, they're silently wondering, can we skip to the part where we talk about something real? It's not arrogance, it's wiring. They'd rather sit in silence than fake interest in weather updates. But get them on a topic they care about, they'll light up like fire. 3. Random bursts of hyperfocus, not inconsistency. It's intellectual surging. They might seem lazy for days, then suddenly lock in for 10 straight hours and master something most people take weeks to learn. This isn't procrastination. It's cognitive intensity. Highly intelligent people often wait for a mental spark, and when it hits, they enter a flow state where time disappears, distractions vanish, and progress explodes. It's not about routine, it's about depth over duration. They don't work all the time, but when they do, it's like watching a storm of genius unfold. 2. Pacing while thinking, not restlessness. It's brain-body syncing. Ever seen someone walking back and forth while deep in thought? That's not anxiety. It's mental activation through movement. For highly intelligent minds, pacing helps boost focus, organize thoughts, trigger creative flow. Walking increases blood flow to the brain, which fuels sharper thinking. It's why great minds like Steve Jobs and Nietzsche were known for their thinking walks. So if they're pacing around the room mid-idea, they're not wasting time. They're literally walking their thoughts into clarity. 1. Being quiet in groups, not shy, just highly observant. They're the ones who sit back, watch and say little, but don't mistake their silence for weakness. They're analyzing everything. While others rush to speak, they're reading the room, studying body language, processing ideas before responding. Highly intelligent people often speak only when it adds real value. And when they do, everyone listens. Silence isn't awkward for them. It's a thinking tool.